and we need to get onto that. But before we do, right, speaking of the song and video money, right?
Yeah.
You were 18 years old
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
You would have started making money.
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, was it, how did that change? You spoke about inner city Birmingham a lot. What were things that you had to adapt to? What was the money like back then as well? Like, how was it put out there? Because there's a lot of discussions about how money is dealt with in the music industry. What was your experience of that?
So I was given something called a development deal, which it's a similar thing of like, you know, when they sign childhood footballers.
Yes.
So I wasn't in the studio for a year before. So the development deal, the first initial part of it was just to make sure I didn't sign with anyone else.
Hey people, welcome back to the Bread and Butter podcast. You're here with myself, Tayo.
And myself, E-Man.
And I'm going to safely say, I'm going to say this with real confidence. We have a Hall of Famer in the
Come on,
building
legends.
right now. UK Hall of Famer. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Some of you guys that are listening, if you haven't got video, you might have heard the voice, you might have heard the little chuckle. Maybe you've identified who we've got on the podcast. But if you're listening, if you're watching, you've seen. But if you're listening, guys, we have the Jamelia in the building. Come on.
Jamelia.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, you know, I'm great.
Now, just before we get into it, not that anybody needs reminding, but there's a question that we often ask our new guests on the podcast, and that is, what is your bread and butter? What is your day to day? Big up. So let us know, what is your bread and butter?
I find before I came here, I was like, how am I going to answer that question? Because I feel like I'm what they call a multi-hyphenate. I've been many things, I do many things. So I think originally people know me as a singer. I started at 15 and, you know, so I sang for, I think, 10, 15 years. And then I've gone into TV, I act, I model, and then not recently, I would describe myself also as an entrepreneur. Just this week, I've become an investor.
Amazing.
Multi-hyphenate.
Amazing. That's wicked, man. That's
big.
That's wicked. It's spanned over a long period of time. You said you started singing at 15.
At 15, and I'm 44 now. So
Wow.
yeah.
So
long time.
For those that don't know, those are not old like me, I'm here in Dubai because I'm celebrating my 40th birthday. Yay. But when I was 13, 14, 15, my favourite artist, it wasn't Beyonce. You know, like, I wasn't crushing on Destiny's Child. She wasn't Beyonce, she was Destiny's Child. It wasn't Destiny's Child. It was Jamelia. Jamelia, my first poster on the wall.
Oh my God.
Man watched Top of the Pops.
Aye, Top of the Pops.
And when she did the collab with Beanie Man, money can't buy my love. I'm crazy. Aye. Jamelia was my team. I love Jamelia in the day. She was lit. Like lit. When you think about it, I remember I compared Jamelia was like our Maya. You know what I mean? Even now, I don't know what happened to Maya these days, but Jamelia was like, she was just a solo sang, danced, everything. Like it was it. And for me, she was my favorite by far. Aww. So I'll never forget the first time I met Jamelia.
I'll never forget the first time meeting you either.
Talk to us about it.
It was so funny.
First time I met Jamelia. So I met her the night before. So we've gone to the awards, True, at NBC Awards in Brum. So True, you know, True's my guy. Gave me the special guest seats.
Yeah.
And you know, when he says I'm gonna give you the VIP. You know, they always gas you.
Yeah. It's the normal thing. They just written VIP on it.
VIP. Come on. I've gone there. I've sat down. Who's next to me? Lamar. I said, what? Lamar is behind me. Right here. Lamar is here. We're both looking at the same. Me and Lamar is looking. We share the same breath with Lamar. If there's any Lamar, you understand? So I'm like, I'm gassed already. So then we're watching the awards, and all of a sudden, Jamelia comes. I said, nah. I've tapped in the person. I've met this person I've just met. I don't even know them. I've tapped them. I said, that's not Jamelia, is it? They've looked. I said, no, that's Jamelia. Jamelia's gone on the stage, presented the awards. Baby's fresh, baby's there, fresh. Done it, come off, come back, got the baby and gone.
Yeah.
I said, I didn't even get a chance to speak, but I've just sat next to Jamelia. I was gassed. So we've gone for breakfast in the morning. Imagine a whole breakfast in the morning. Not Jamelia's in breakfast. Then I said, E-man, control yourself. Don't bother the woman. Like, this is Jamelia. Don't bother. So now I've left her. I've seen her. I'm not going over there. I've said I'm keeping my distance because I know me. I will overly get comfortable. I said, no, she's got the fresh babies fresh.
Yeah.
So let me leave. Gone to get a drink. I'm holding the glass. I haven't put nothing in the glass yet. I look, Jamelia's come to get a drink. Then Jamelia's like, I love your work. If I tell you how tired, man was grits in that glass. I said, you know Jamelia knows me.
He literally, and then it was like it just filled out.
I was over the moon. I was over the moon. She's like, yeah, my kids put you on just after. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Second I've left there, I've gone on live. I've gone on my phone. I put in my stories, told the story. Like, my Jamelia, you know, from my poster on my wall. I said, I've made it. I said, this is it. No one can tell me nothing in life. I don't need no award. I don't need nothing. This is it. Jamelia knows who I am. Like, I'll never forget that day. It was one of the happiest days of my life ever. So yeah, man.
No, it was special. It was, you know what? I always find it really lovely when you feel like someone's genuinely happy to meet you, like, you know, like you've made their day, like, because I'm not someone who I don't love like the fame side of things or the celebrity side of things, but bringing joy to people, that's just, it's a different feeling. It's just, it's really beautiful. So it was just as special for me. I was just like, oh, like, I really feel like I made his day.
No,
like,
you did, man. Trust me.
Iman said something, right? Oh, well, you both said something. Iman said something about, I saw Jamelia and I felt like I didn't want to bother her. And you mentioned something earlier about how extensive your career is. I mean, you're known today and you said you started 15. So my maths is correct. That's like near enough 30 years, right? Yeah. There must have been a time where you might, how do you respond to always being approached like, wow, are you Jamelia? Like, how is there ever times it becomes overwhelming at times? Is there ever times that like it absolutely kills your social battery? Because there is times like that, but I mean, at that breakfast, this is a breakfast, I presume, for speakers and VIPs. Yeah. And it's kind of someone that you know, but sometimes it's get like overwhelming, especially when you've done your hard years of like being in the limelight, and then there's like people that still know you. And you basically look the same as well.
Do you know, honestly, like for me, I think everything is all about your mindset. And to me, I just feel like these people that are excited to meet me, these are people that have invested in me in some way. Maybe they bought my single, maybe they, watched me on the TV, or they've downloaded my songs. Like, so because of them, I'm a single parent to 4 girls. Like, because of them, I get to feed my kids. Because of them, my children live, I've got 4 bougie little girls, and my children live a life totally different to the life that I grew up living. So I feel fortunate. I don't, it's never a burden, like never. I'm not saying, people can be inappropriate. I might have just come out of the toilet and I haven't washed my hands yet, and it's kind of like, oh, can I just wash my hands? And, or especially. So obviously I was in the public eye before we had phones. But now you've got to be ready because people want to just take out their phones and do selfies, and you're like, oh, okay, this is new. But you move with the times. But it's never. I often get people like DMing me or, saying, oh, I saw you and I didn't, the thing, I didn't want to bother you. And I always say, oh, you should have said hello. Like, I don't bite. Absolutely. Like, and I never would, you know what I mean? As I said, I think the weirdest approach that I've had is like maybe like while changing my daughter's nappy, and it's kind of like, but I feel like I'm quite, not media trained, but I know what to say to people. So it's not rude, but it's also just let me handle my business first and I'll come to you. You know what I mean? But
you know how to articulate yourself.
I try anyway. Yeah.
So
I feel like you're going to get into something serious. Before he gets into the serious stuff that we need to, can we talk about my favorite Jamelia TV moment?
What?
this was it the show? Was it called Never Mind the Bus
Oh
Cops?
no, don't no.
And Jamelia's on there. Obviously, no, I'm watching this. I do not watch this show ever. Jamelia's on the show. I'm watching the show. So I'm watching. I think it's even on BBC Two. I don't even. Them times, no, who even clicks on BBC Two?
Yeah.
It's a mad channel.
It's a mad channel. Who even
BBC Two is a mad channel.
Who even goes on BBC Two? Like it's on BBC Two. But you know you're flicking. That's Jamelia. No, I'm here. I'm locked in. So I'm watching the thing now, and it gets to the end, and they bring out a lineup.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about a different episode.
No.
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
This is one of my favorite TV moments. So they bring out a lineup, and the lineup is Jamelia's ex is in the lineup.
No, it wasn't even. I'm going to let you tell your story, and I'm going to tell you what the actual story is.
Okay.
But yeah.
So they were like, they said to obviously which one's the MC.
Yeah.
And then when now comes to pick, Jamelia says, "Well, I know it. I know who it is because they're my ex." And listen, everyone's like, "Ooh, no, Bridget, nah, they are." And it's like, and then she's like, the line that killed her. She's like, "But obviously it's not going well for him because he's over there and I'm over here." And I'm like, and I never ever forget this. I thought, yeah, that was sick because at the time I remember there was, you know, the times they're trying to do couples. I grew up in East London, so obviously grime is garage. That's what I grew up on. So all these men that I know, friends that know them from groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See, when he started dating me, I didn't like him no more. How dare you?
No. We never dated.
No?
No, nothing.
Who is this?
No, I don't even
Don't
want to
say
mention.
names, don't say
I don't
names.
even want to mention. So the facts are,
go
I
on.
didn't say he was my ex. I said he sold a story on me. It was a fake story. And he called me to tell me that he was gonna sell the story. And he said, I'm so sorry, but I wanted to take my girlfriend on holiday. And those days they would pay. like money for stories. So and it was a really derogatory story. You know, I'm not gonna repeat,
Of
but
course.
like for me as well, like I was so embarrassed. I was so hurt. Like he was my friend, and like for him to do that to me. So yeah, but I'm also a person that I believe so strongly in karma.
Yeah.
I believe so, like for me, it was just kind of like, you've done that, you lose me as a friend, innit?
Yeah.
But then this is like 10, 15 years later that he's in the lineup. I'm like, no way. And the worst thing for him was that one of my brothers were in the dressing room and he was fuming. So we had to actually stop filming so I could go back and go and talk to my brother and just say, listen, leave it. This is enough. You know what I mean? Because it was going to be a very sad day for him. But yeah, he did actually issue an apology on YouTube. Apologizing for it, and but then I think he took it down actually. But so we weren't even in at anything.
Wow.
That was
It's because the apology on YouTube was for views.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
And the views didn't stack up. It was another bite at the cherry. It was literally another bite at the cherry.
Wow. Yeah.
What was the TV moment you were thinking of?
So it's actually a TV moment that a lot of people on the same show, never mind the Buzzcocks, it wasn't the same episode, but basically I said something really horrible about another black female singer, and at the time it was, I thought it was really funny. I was obviously much younger. I don't want to repeat what I said, but like it's not something that I'm proud of. So but a lot of people, oh my gosh, my favorite TV, and I'm just like, I'm so embarrassed that I ever did that, that I ever said it, and I can't apologize enough, and I regret. That's probably my biggest regret.
But I think that with a lot of these things you got to give yourself some grace as well, because with stuff like showbiz and stardom, you're rushed into it. You're not trained. It's kind of like you're so raw basically. And then the other thing is that all of us speak, right? All of our viewers and all of us speak, but the amount that what you say gets recorded or broadcasted is absolutely insane, basically. So I think that's something to think about as well.
And also, like, before you go on the show, they're plying you with drink, like, and
back in the day,
anyway. And I'm no joke. And like, so what's your favorite drink? I'm like Malibu and pineapple. So by the time we start recording,
you're gone.
My face, like,
Things have changed
so
so much,
anything.
thing is, right now they wouldn't even get. They wouldn't
Come
even
on.
get to sign off
There's
alcohol.
no way that
You
would
can't even
happen.
drink on the air.
Yeah.
Come on.
That
Bro,
would
they
not
won't give you
happen.
food. They say no, we can't give you food just in case
Yeah.
it has this in it, and then you have a reaction.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's changed so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about the span of your career. So you, and I want to talk about all of your bread and butters actually. All of them, from being an investor to being a mom to all the bits you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
But we'll talk with the single, which is everyone knows you for. So you started at 15.
Yeah.
One thing I asked, did you always know you were going to be a star?
No way.
Seriously?
Nah.
So not even at 11, no one said that, bro, there's something special about you.
No, I knew I could sing.
Yeah.
But I lived in inner city Birmingham.
Yeah.
My ambition, probably between the age of like 10 and 15, was that I was going to work in the corner shop. Like, to me, like my big ambition was I'm going to work in the shop and then I'm going to work my way up until the shop is mine. That was like my ambition. Sorry.
No, you could.
Sorry.
When you say the shop, is that the family?
No, it's just a corner shop. It was called John Shop, but it was an Indian man. But it was it was the shop. It was like the shop. Everyone in the area went to the shop, like, and I'm like, that's a wicked business. I didn't recognize myself as entrepreneurial, but I feel like I've definitely got it in me.
Yeah.
But also my mom. So I saw my mom volunteer at the local play centre and work her way up to being the whole manager of the whole area that we lived in. So that was like a real inspiration. Do you know what I mean? To me, like I saw my mom do it. Like literally, I was holding my mom's hand. I was 7, and I was with her when she went to go and ask for the job. And like, you know, she may never. Well, obviously I've told her, but like, I just think don't underestimate working hard and especially as a parent, how that can impact your children. Like even to this day, like I bring my children as much as I can to every workspace. I didn't bring them here today because madness. But but yeah, I try and bring my children everywhere as much as I can so that they can see, you know, mommy works hard, you know, and this is, you know, and then, you know, we get to do lots of nice things. Absolutely.
Through your career, what age were you when you released your first single, and when was your last single released?
So my first single was released, my first official single, because you release like warm-up singles, but my first official release was actually a song called I Do. It was before Money. And I got to like shoot a video for it and everything. And I think that got to number 36 in the charts.
Nice.
And honestly, for me, I was like, I've made it. I'm like Mary J. Blige. Like, no one can chat to me. And this is what I'm saying, like, coming from inner city Birmingham, things like that do not happen.
Yeah.
So even to this day, I still feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, like pinch me. Is this really happening? Wow. Like still to this day. But yeah, my first, like I Do was kind of like a testing the waters, but it charted and it wasn't supposed to chart. So because it charted, I think that's what changed everything at the record label. And,
what year was that if you don't mind me asking?
So that must have been like 99, I'd say. And the same year we released Money. So Money was released, no, was it the same year? No, that must have been 98 actually, because I'm sure Money was released in February of 99. And then that's what took off. I think what worked out was that Beanie Man, maybe a couple of weeks or months before, he had gone to, I think it was like number 5 in the charts with Sim Simma. And it was around the set, but that it wasn't planned or anything like that. We were all, like the release date was the release date. And then, so have you read this book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers?
I haven't, no.
Oh my God, you need to read it. It's amazing. But basically it's about that whole thing of like, being not just being in the right place at the right time, but being like born at the right time, being, you know, like there are so many outlier moments in my life that I'm just like this, you know, I feel like a really lucky person, really fortunate, really blessed. I feel like, you know, because of these strange things that happen and these strange occurrences, or just even me being prepared for certain opportunities, I always, that's my number one thing that I say to my daughters. Like, it's not just about you know, the opportunity, are you prepared for when the opportunity comes to you? And that's why you live a life of excellence. That's what I preach to them, like try and just live at your highest potential so that when it does arrive, can you actually do it and do it well? But so I feel like unknown to me, I was singing all the time. So when someone asked me at 15 to go and sing live on stage at Notting Hill Carnival, it wasn't hard. It was just kind of like, okay. And it just so happened that an A&R man from the record label was at Carnival in that crowd on that day and saw me sing, went straight to my mom. Bear in mind, we're from Birmingham. We're just in London for the weekend for Notting Hill Carnival, my first time at Carnival. Like, there's so many little things that are just like, you know what I mean?
Can I jump in here? Because I really want to paint the picture here, because what you're saying is bang on. Like they say, luck is where preparation meets opportunity, right? And we often say that if you were someone who kind of like covered your talents and knew you could sing but didn't want to be outspoken and stuff like that, you wouldn't have sang at Notting Hill Carnival. You wouldn't have been spotted by the A&R who happened to be at Carnival on that day. And let's fast forward. You wouldn't be able to have 4 children in Dubai as a single mother.
Exactly.
Like, this
no
is
chance.
so many years, 30 years on. So it just goes to show that like you always have to be prepared.
Absolutely.
Always be prepared for the moment.
Absolutely. So even as a teenager, and I think that's why I teach my children from now, you know what I mean? My youngest daughter's 2, get to work. No, I'm joking. but you know, but in a
There's
way,
still
it's
some
kind
things
of,
you could do,
of course. Like, you know, my 7-year-old, she wanted to quit gymnastics the other day, and I'm just like, but she wants to be like Simone Biles. I'm like, Simone Biles didn't quit gymnastics. She had hard days. You know what I mean? She had to, but you have to push through, and you know, and obviously, if she turns around and she's really, you know, but I'm also letting her know you can't be like Simone Biles. Simone Biles worked hard, and and even now, as Simone Biles, she still works. Do you know what I mean? And my daughter's 7, so I still tell her those things. But yeah, just going back to it, like what I would say is that I dreamed of being a singer. I dreamed of, you know, I had posters on my wall. I had like Mary J. Blige. I had Beanie Man. I had Jodeci, like SWV. Those are the people that I was just like, you know, in a dream world, that's where I would be. That, you know, I'd be the poster on someone's wall. And I used to do vision boards. Like back when I was a child, I used to do vision. Obviously, I didn't know there were vision boards. And even in my meetings, when I signed to the record label at 15, I would go in with my vision boards and say, look, this is the type of artist I want to be. I've actually got one of my vision boards, which is written, and it was just a list of all the magazines I wanted to be in, TV shows that I wanted to be on. And I looked back about 5 years ago, every single thing on the list. And it's just like most things on my vision boards over the years, and I still do vision boards to this day, they happen, and I feel like it's that I make a goal, I work towards it, and then I make sure, like, if it happens, I'm ready for it. Do you know what I mean?
It's mad. You saying that, I remember you was in one of these magazines. You know the magazine where in the middle you take it out and then you can get that's how I got your poster. And the man them roasted me like. Because obviously them times we had Biggie and Tupac and there was the and then I'm here buying one of these girly magazines to get Jamelia's poster. But so when you said poster, I was like, actually, no, I remember I bought this thing just for you, and the man them gave it to me hard.
That is so funny.
Smash hits.
Yeah, exactly. One of them type of thing. And then people, bro, this ain't cool, bro. I'm like, nah, but it's Jamelia. So it's like, but that's it. So talk to us about money, because obviously you come. So I watched the video the other day, and I'm just like, did you know it was ahead of his time? Because actually, we watched that video. When that used to come on, we used to request. We used to request to watch that video.
Like the box, or
on the box and the call up, and request
it
on MTV. And it's one of the few that was on MTV. Like it wasn't before bass. Like it was on MTV. Like you didn't, because most of the time, if you went to watch black people, you have to watch MTV bass. But you were actually on MTV. Like.
Yeah. I think what I would say is that I only know, like, a lot of these things that I'm saying to you now, I'm saying with hindsight. I'm saying, like, you know, I'm a very reflective person, very analytical. And I look back and the only way I can describe it is I was delusional, but in the greatest way. Like
Yeah.
you have to think like this dark-skinned black girl is in, these meetings and stuff. Like I'm literally imagine like a boardroom, massive boardroom table, and I'm saying, listen, I really believe that Money is a song we should go with. Like Beanie Man's on there and da-da-da-da. And this is before Beanie Man released Sim Simmer.
Yeah.
But I was just like, he's an icon in my community and blah, blah, blah. And then I spoke to them about what I would like for the video. And they were just like, huh? Because I was just like, we don't see black people doing things like this. Bear in mind, at this point, I'm 18. And like, these men are like 40, 50, you know what I mean? Like old white men. I think there's one white woman at the table. And I don't know how, but I convinced them. And it's, again, like, I think it's a little bit of delusion, a little bit of audacity. And I also think as well, when you don't have fear put inside you, this is something that I say not to do to your children. Don't scare your children about the world that they live in.
Yeah.
Like, just make them think that, like whatever your idea is, you want to go to the moon? Yeah, of course you can. Because you actually can.
You can,
Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
actually can. And I think I didn't have that fear. I had no concept of the fact, oh my gosh, I'm in a boardroom and with all these important people. I just saw it as I am in the room with these people. We must all be on a par.
Yeah.
It's insane. It is insane, but it's also a great version of insanity because I'm just like, because I didn't have that fear, I was confident to put forward my ideas to, in my head, I just thought, well, you want me here, you're paying me.
Yeah.
So, so this is my idea. This is how we should do it. This is what we're going to do. And they listened to me. And so the Money video, I knew it was going to pop off. You know what I mean? I just knew. And then on the day, you have to, like, I was an artist in the times where they would spend like 100, 200, 300 grand on a video. Now it's like $3,000. Like it's a totally different landscape. But to have it actually come to life, it proper looks like Bridgerton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like being there on that day, like just looking around, I was like, yeah, this is good. Because Beanie Man wasn't in the video and I was really upset about that. But it was just kind of like, okay, we're just still gonna, I remember like we're gonna make a point of Dwayne being the guy in the video. And and it's just that black people did it. Do you know what I mean? That's what I genuinely feel. Is black people that, like, as you said, you were buying smash hits. Black people didn't buy smash hits because we weren't in smash hits.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And so, again, this is why I will never feel a way for anyone being excited about seeing me or speaking to me. Because to me, it's like, if it wasn't for you,
this
I
is
wouldn't,
it.
as you said, my 4 little black girls would not be living in Dubai. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
30 years later, like, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to get onto that. But before we do, right, speaking of the song and video Money, right?
Yeah.
You were 18 years old
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
You would have started making money.
Yeah.
What was that like? Like, was it, how did that change? You spoke about inner city Birmingham a lot. What were things that you had to adapt to? What was the money like back then as well? Like, how was it put out there? Because there's a lot of discussions about how money is dealt with in the music industry. What was your experience of that?
So I was given something called a development deal, which it's a similar thing of like, when they sign childhood footballers.
Yes.
So I wasn't in the studio for a year before. So the development deal, the first initial part of it was just to make sure I didn't sign with anyone else. I was getting £600 a month. That was more than my mom was getting paid in her managerial position at her job.
Wow.
So I was
breadwinner.
the breadwinner.
Yeah.
I became
At what
the
age?
breadwinner at 15. Yeah. And so a lot changed. To be honest, I didn't really, I just bought trainers. I wasn't really a problem child. So I don't think, they say like, give someone some money and you'll see who they really are.
Man out, man. Close the door, man. Close the window, man.
Nah, I've always had too much respect to ever be like that with my mom. Like,
of course.
as I said, I saw my mom graft. Like, it was a beautiful thing to be able to take over in a way. And so my money, the development deal basically covered me, but then they paid for all my taxis, they paid for all my train travel, my hotels, and anything that I needed, food, everything. So I wasn't even spending the money on the basic necessities. So I ended up just giving the money to my mom. I didn't really need it for anything. And so my mom had that money until I got pregnant. I got pregnant at 19 with my daughter. And yeah, she just kind of was just like, you're going to need it. And not only that, I bought her a house, I bought her a car, I bought her, she didn't want for anything. I always, even though she gave me back that money, by that point I was making loads more, and I'd just give her money a month time to the point where she retired. I think, so as I said, I was 19, so she would have been, I'm terrible at math, so I'm guessing about 36. My mom's 17 years older than me, so that's wrong, but maybe she was older. I don't know. I'm really rubbish at maths. It's so embarrassing. But anyway, and so money at that point, just think a teenager being pregnant, normally that's a death sentence. It's seen as like, okay, your life's over.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie to you, I did fear probably for the first time that my career was over. And so because of my career being over, I wasn't going to earn. But I got a new record deal in the middle of my pregnancy, and they were just like, listen, whenever you're ready to come back, just let us know. So I did. When I performed at the Mobiles, I was pregnant with my daughter.
Okay.
And the record label knew, and they were, 100% behind me. Also, I was pregnant at a time where that's what happened. You would get dropped from your record label if they found out you were pregnant. And so, I literally, my performance at the Mobiles that year, I just thought, okay, well, this is it. At least I'll go out on a high, And they were, as I said, a few months later, they renewed my contract, and I was just like, oh, okay, let's go. So, and I think what I will say about money is that growing up in inner city Birmingham, I had no financial literacy. My mom didn't have any financial literacy. I didn't know anyone who was wealthy. So I did not know what to do with this money. And what I will say to you is like I would say that I only became interested in my finances, maybe this is going to shock you, maybe in the last 5 to 7 years. So
means things were great. And I want to get onto that as well, because I want you to break down something that people don't know about. So obviously back in your day, it would have been sales, right?
Yeah.
Now things are streams, right?
Yes,
and
exactly.
you will still be earning off streams today, isn't it?
Yeah, still,
What is your highest, what track is it that is like most streamed for yourself?
It does depend. So you get something called a performer's right, which is just because you sang the song. And then you also get publishing. I get publishing because I wrote a lot of my songs. So my highest performer's right song is Superstar. I get, I'm nice. And then Thank You is my highest publishing song.
That Thank You song.
Yeah.
And he's everywhere. There's films that's got it in it. There's like, it's proper everywhere. You go into, like when I follow my wife into these Zara's and all this, I'm like, wow, this thing, they really like this song. Like, what is it like when, because I guess like you said, you wrote the song, but you didn't know, did you know that it would, do you get to a point where you know this is going to be a smash like this?
Not at all. I think, for me, my thing is always, do I enjoy the song? And let me tell you a funny thing. Superstar is not one of them songs. Superstar, I was so against. I was like, this is a terrible idea. This is a terrible song. And I'm going to hate singing it. Don't really hate singing it now because, you know.
But you know what? It's funny you say that, because I always say that as that song, I don't like that song because it's not really our thing.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
When I tell you, like, when you see them lot, they love, right, they know the words, they love that thing.
I was at a beach club yesterday and for my friend's birthday, and they played Superstar, and I'm in there like, why are they playing? But then I'm looking around, I'm like, and like some of them, they're like 22. I'm like, why do you know this song?
For them, it's a song. Like,
a song.
They don't know it's a song. It's just like
literally.
ingrained in music.
Yeah, they've been doing it
It's
their
just
whole
music.
lives.
This is music.
They're singing it word
Facts.
for word. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I was so embarrassed. But the good thing is, those kids didn't know I sang the song, so it was cool. I was fine. But it's listen, for me, my publishing and my performing rights has been like, that's what, allows me to live worry free in 2025, and obviously I've written loads of other songs. So all the songs that I've written on my albums are all ways that I now make money today. But you make way less money on streams than you do physical.
Yeah.
So what was that like? The transition from like, okay, now you're getting more streams, you're reachable in more markets, but the money's less.
So, okay, so for instance, you have to think about it like this. So Money sold 85,000 copies in its first week.
Mm-hmm.
That meant 85,000 people, some people bought more than one, but you know what I mean? Went
It's
into
crazy.
HMV.
Yeah, HMV
picked
them
up
time.
the CD.
Yeah.
I'll probably sound like I'm speaking a different language right now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
picked up a
I
CD
did.
and paid for it.
I went Oxford Street as well.
Yeah.
I went to the one in
But
Oxford
look,
Street
this
because
is
it
the
was an
thing.
event. It was a thing.
Exactly.
You can't go to your local one, dead in Lewisham. I went straight to the. I had to go to the one. Yeah.
For me, it was like the equivalent of going viral.
Yeah,
I
of course.
could not believe. So the song went to number 5 in the charts, and like nowadays, you can go to number 1 and sell like 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm just like, what? Like I would have been number 1 how many times over? But I also think it's a beautiful thing to be selling records then and still be selling records now. My streams are still up there with current artists. I think I get nearly 2 million listeners on Spotify a month. And like, that's like new artists celebrate those kind of numbers.
Yeah.
And so it's such a beautiful thing, I think, to be an artist that people connect with nostalgia. I think that's what it is. I think people remember how they felt when they listened to the songs back then, and so they still listen. And I just feel so fortunate. You know what I mean? Like it's beautiful.
No, but it's beyond that though, because even like when I'm on the radio, they're playing old school. My kids are growing up listening to. They're hearing Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
They're playing that now. They go to when they got their little prom. They're playing. Those are the songs they're playing.
It's so
and it's
true.
like I was alive when they play. Like when that first came out, I was doing the. Do you understand? Like, do you know what I mean?
Backstreet Boys were hard.
They were
What?
crazy.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were crazy.
Backstreet
Backstreet Boys
You know-
/ NSYNC.
Yeah, literally,
Insane.
Backstreet Boys was one of my first. I think my first ever concert. Like me, little black girl from Birmingham, but Backstreet Boys. No, they were wicked. No one can tell me nothing.
So like, I feel like it's just we are growing up on like music. As much as there's new music, the standard hasn't. The old music is just the standard now. That's just what. And then you have that odd hit from the now. But most of the time they're playing songs. I'm like, no, I used to listen to this when my dad used to drive me to school.
Literally.
Now I'm driving my kids to school. They're playing the same. Like, do you know what I mean?
And I think it adds to it as well when you make timeless music. And I think that sometimes streaming can facilitate you earning for a longer period of time, maybe less, but it can allow you to, because you're earning from your music today 2 million listeners. The chances are in 10 years time it'll probably be the same, right?
Well,
it's like having real estate, basically. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But then think about even with social media, like, and again, that's why that song, like, thank you, like, when you think about when you want to be grateful for something, you will just type it, it will come up because it's time. Every year we have something every day we have something to be thankful for. So when you want to feel that, you go to that song, and it's timeless.
And you know what I feel as well? I feel like I think one of the things that has changed is that when you released music, but back in the day, it was just a moment. Whereas like now, it's that thing. I think people revisit things over and over again. And like the other day, Superstar went viral again, and I'm
it's
like,
crazy.
what?
It's crazy.
Why?
Yeah.
And Jessie J's recently, one of her old songs. I know she's got a new project, but one of her old songs, Price Tag, is just recently all the kids are doing it. I'm like, yo, this is wild. Like, you know what I mean? But it's also beautiful, like, even seeing my kids like singing along to songs that I used to love, like as you said, like the drive in the car, like it's beautiful. Like they want to hear so, they want to hear like certain 90s R&B songs or even Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Justin Timberlake, they're into it.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask, right, because this is bread and butter, I want to give people an insight into the music world.
Yeah.
For a song like Superstar, streams wise, if you're happy to share, what would something like Superstar have brought in the last year? Bear in mind you made the song a long time ago.
Just the one song,
the one song.
Okay, I would say. Okay. I last year, I think I made about 70,000
GBP.
Yeah.
From Superstar.
Yeah.
It's mad.
But that's good insight as well. Do you know why that's important as well?
That's collective as well. That's performing and publishing. I got a little bit of the publishing.
You know how many songs she's got?
Exactly that. But do you know why it's interesting as well? Yeah, because sometimes it's important for people. Sometimes people on the road to something. So there's going to be someone that might be 15, 16, 17, thinking this singing thing is long.
Yeah.
But sometimes they need to understand this is what you're working towards.
And you know what? It is long. But for me, the reward is also long.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The reward, it is because like for instance, 3 years ago, like coming up to 3 years ago, my husband left me, and that left me obviously in just like a, terrible position. But I was able to just be like, okay, I'm not going to work. I'm just going to chill. I'm going to heal. And I was able to do that because I was earning money, maybe not the type of money that I could, but I was still earning enough to keep me and my family afloat. I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have to. And also I didn't fall down because he left. Like that was, that was another thing. And I feel like I always say never underestimate the hard work, for instance, when you write a song, you can release it and then you don't earn money for 2 years. It takes 2 years to earn the money from that song. And the reason is because the different societies are going out and collecting the money for you.
Yeah.
But after the 2 years, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. And that's why people continue to release music, because you continue to have beautiful days.
And
you know what I mean?
Also go on tour, right? That's why they go on tour.
So this is another thing. So songwriting is something that I recommend highly. If you can, try and write your own songs. But touring is fantastic. Also, again, another perk of 2025. So I'm currently in the process of recording a new album. Amazing. Just for fun. But the beauty of it is me being back in the public eye in that way sends people back to the old song. So my streams have gone up in the past few months because I've kind of just been, out and about doing things and promoting and trying anyway. But and like it gets reflected in the streams. And so my management, we really watch, what actions I take impact the music, and and also hopefully people love the new music. Like, this is going to sound like such a strange thing for me to say. I have never, ever done anything for money. I believe that money should never be your sole motivation to do anything. I think if you're good at something, if you're passionate about something, if you center yourself on God and purpose, the money will come. I think having the willingness to work hard and not feel like it's owed to you, that's when you will be rewarded. Like, one thing I will say about me, like I've never been on my face. Like, I've never just been down and out, but I've also never been afraid to work hard.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, the past like 7 months, because I've been recording, I've been back and forth to the UK. I've been, just putting in the hours. Being away from my children is really difficult for me.
Yeah.
And but it's just kind of like, it's still that thing. You do this and you'll get that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do this and that will happen. And my motivation is always my children. It's always I just want them to live freely, have no worry, especially after the past few years. They've seen me, they have seen me really down, really going through it. And now they get to see me celebrate, and they celebrate with me. And, and it's it's a beautiful thing. Like, yeah, really, really beautiful.
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to tap into some of the other bread and butters, right?
Yes.
So one thing you mentioned, which a lot of artists do, which I'm so happy to hear that you're doing as well, is entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And it sounds like you had a spirit of entrepreneurship even when you were younger as well.
I know.
And Iman knows as well. You Brumlot, there's something in there.
Nah, Brum is,
There's something in the Brumlot.
Brum is different.
There's something in the Brumlot. You lot love it.
We do.
Brum
we
is
do.
different, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
talk to us about that.
So I think entrepreneurship is really encouraged in Birmingham.
Definitely.
Also, Birmingham Jamaicans, like, you know, Jamaicans are hustlers by nature, and I feel like in Birmingham there's a huge Jamaican community,
There is.
and so like. We saw our parents, like especially like the dads were always sound men or selling carvings at carnival. Like it was business. And also as Jamaicans as well, we're not sold the education.
Yeah.
We're actually more taught to kind of oppose authority and build something for yourself, so no one can take it away from you. And so that's where I think anyway, our entrepreneurial, we're never encouraged to go and work for someone else.
Yeah.
And you know, it's build your own business. Like my mom, you know, she was always like, okay, can you sell that? Like, can you, you know, to my brothers, like, what can you do with that? Like, it was always, you know, critical thinking is way more important. You know, having sense. That's what Jamaicans say. You know, you have no sense. They're always if you ain't got sense, that's probably the worst thing that you could say to a Jamaican. But and this is something that I encourage in all of my daughters. I've told them all the same thing. One of my daughters is at university at the moment, but what I love about that is that it was her decision, purely her decision,
nice.
based on what she wants to do with her life. And I fully support it. I'm not against education in any way, shape or form. But I just want to know that my children are doing exactly what they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's not dictated to them or encouraged by society. Sorry, what was your question? I do this. I go off and
So you'll be doing more entrepreneurship
Yes,
now
yes.
Alongside your music. So what does
Yes.
that look like? What have you been getting involved in?
I've mentioned earlier, I became an investor in a drinks company this week. Which is really exciting for me, like exciting and a bit scary because I'm like handing over that kind of money, but it's just kind of like, it's also very exciting. I feel like I'm going to learn a lot.
Yes.
I'm already learning a lot and it's definitely, so I mentioned earlier, my financial literacy, I was actually scared to come on the podcast because I'm just like, they're going to ask me about money and then I'm going to have to tell the truth. And, you know, but it was never, I say it to people all the time. I spend money like a rapper. I make it like a rapper, but I also spend it like a rapper, and or even worse, like a trapper. Like, you know, it's not, because it's like, you know. I don't know if you know, but like they spend it like they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually trying to get rid of it, but I also have this belief because of my life for the past 30 years, it always comes
back.
It always comes, no matter what I spend, it always comes. But that's not financial literacy, and I can see you, man.
Yeah.
He's
I have
just
to
looking at me
reposition.
That was enough to let your man know that.
It's not what you're trying to buy. Please.
He's screaming inside. But I do want to become. I'm 44, and now, you know, I'm starting. You know, I've got to think about things like wills. I've got to think about my children. My daughter, my eldest daughter is 24. My second daughter is 19. You know, what am I passing on to them in terms of financial literacy? And that's why I don't want to pass on bad habits. I know I've got bad habits. I know, you know, that I don't deal with money in the way that I should. So investing is something that I've started. Budgeting is something that I've started. I know you lot are like, what?
No, the transparency is good. It's
It's
important.
At her big age.
No, it's important.
No, but you already invested. Like you got, and that's the thing. It's like when we think about it, because we're talking about music, but what we're really talking about is royalties. And actually, you can have royalties in any industry. It doesn't have to. You can have patents. You can. But if you're able to create something, you can patent that, and you can get royalties off that and live off that for you. That's already a business. It's already an income that you've created through your talent.
And this is it. I do live nicely. I do live comfortably. But what I will say is that people need to understand that it's a variable as well. I can have bad months as well. You know, I can have months where I earn way less than I normally do, or way less than I did this time last year. And that's why I continue to work, because I'm just like, you know what, regardless of receiving royalties. So I received the royalties, but I'm still living life. I live in Dubai. Like it's not cheap over here. And I feel like I feel like it's something that it's just something that I have to think more about, and I'm trying to think more about, and I'm trying to work more towards being more conscious of how I spend my money more than how I make my money. I find making money very easy, but spending it is also too easy.
Spending it wisely.
The last before, I know we got to wrap up soon, but we haven't talked about the acting.
Yes, so
because obviously you had the show with Lamar, which I've made my kids watch, and they actually sat there and watched the whole thing and loved it. It was really good. I watched it with them. It was really good. But then all of a sudden you took it serious. Like, no, because I think it was Sky Kids. It was fun.
It was nice. Yeah.
Then you've gone to a national treasure in the UK. Yeah. Like, how do you transit? Like, you just go hard in everything.
I do. Do you know what? So I'm not very good when it comes to theoretically learning things. So I did. What was this show called? Oh, that's so bad. Cut this out, okay? So I did Little Darlings,
yes,
and I really loved the experience. I've done little bits and bobs of acting, but this was something that I was just like, you know what, I'd love to do more of this, but I didn't want to like go to acting school or whatever. So I was like, how can I learn more? And I was like, I could go on a soap. So I don't know if I approached Hollyoak. No, I think they approached us. I think they approached me, and I was just like, yeah, straight away. And it was a year's contract. Again, the pay was very, very, very good. So how that works is that you're basically on call. So they can call you any day and you come in and you work. And for me, it felt too much like a 9 to 5. So I found it too restricting, which is why I didn't sign for a second year. But I learned so much and I loved it. And then when I left there, I did a BBC comedy, and I'd love to do more acting. It's definitely something that, you know, I absolutely love. And another stream of income that, you know, that's one thing. That's why, can I call myself an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it might not be like, you know, like businesses, but it's like, doing the acting, doing the singing, that's like, you know, investing. Am I an entrepreneur?
I think so to an extent, because they're aligned as well. You're going to have like account. Maybe you've incorporated different businesses to receive different parts of the money. Maybe with some of them, maybe the acting, you reach out and you collaborate.
You know one thing I've learned in this episode, you need me as your financial advisor.
No, that's facts though.
I'm going to be booking this appointment afterwards.
Yeah, facts. You do.
100%.
You do. You said you spend money like a rapper.
I know.
Like a trapper.
But at the same time, you said you don't even step out that much. So it's like...
I don't. You know what it is? I like nice experiences. So I can't stay like my hotel's got to be nice.
Yeah.
You know, when I take a taxi, it's got to be like the, you know, the nice one. Yeah. So, you know, but at the same time, I do think I live below my means. I don't, you know, I'm never worried. Like over here as well, you have to pay your rent in advance. Like, you know, I don't worry about whether or not I've paid. And because I'm consciously, I want to be in a position, I want to be able to buy like, you know, an equivalent house to what I had in the UK. At the moment, I live in a really beautiful house, beautiful neighborhood. And, you know, and I love it, but I'm still ambitious and I still, you know, I still want it.
So the last thing I want to touch on is your move to Dubai, roughly about a year ago. What triggered it? How are you finding it?
Listen, I'm in heaven. Like, this is truly the greatest thing that I've ever done. And I just wish that I'd done it earlier. Like, me and my children, our quality of life has just, it's through the roof. Like, the benefits of us moving here, me as a woman, me as a single parent, me as a mother of girls, I just wish I'd done it sooner. I really do. I live the most beautiful life, and I'm very, very happy.
What's some of the quote unquote simple things that you experience that you just think to yourself that, you know what, this is simple, but it's different?
Then packing your bags at the supermarket, like what?
And they don't ask you for no money because if you go for it to America, hey, pack your bag and go $220.
Literally. No, well, do you know what? I think over here they normalize ease. Like I'll be walking around. So there's a shop over here called Home Sense. It's kind of similar to like IKEA. And I'll be like, you know, might have my hands full. Someone will always come and take it away from me, or any shop. If you, like I had a full trolley the other day in the supermarket. A man came up to me and took the trolley from me and he was like, no, you go. And I'm just like, oh, like I feel like my life, especially as a mother, is so much easier over here. Like I feel like I go back to the UK. I'm actually going back tomorrow with my children without my nanny, and I'm scared because I'm so used to the ease. I'm so used to things feeling just so chilled and calm and peaceful. And like I know I'm going to be struggling with bags. Like here, they just wouldn't let that happen. I know, you know, that like I've been in a restaurant, and you know the baby's like, she's 2 now, but she was 1 when we first got here, and like someone will come and take the baby so I can eat my food.
Yes, it's happened to us as well. When Chops came with his daughter, they carry
Like
the baby.
what?
Play.
Like when and where? When and where?
That's all the server will be doing in the restaurant.
Literally.
There'll be one person just holding the baby. Like they love kids here for real.
They love
It's not
children.
fair, bro. They love kids for real.
The and that's another thing. Like you see, my children being in an environment where they believe everyone loves them.
Come on.
Listen, I'll get emotional. Like it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful for all of us to experience.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like in the UK we normalize, and it's not our fault, but I feel like struggle is normalized in the UK.
Normalized.
Hardship is normalized.
Yeah.
You know, even when we talk about working hard, it doesn't. Over here, I still work just as hard as I did in the UK, but I feel like like yesterday I was at the beach, and you know, in the middle of the day on a Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? But I still worked hard all week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like the reward feels fair. You know, and also you're more willing to work as well. Like working out here is beautiful. Like, you know, and I don't, you know, I feel like when I go back to England, it's like a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah.
But I you know what? In a way, I'm glad that I was raised in England.
That's
you know what I mean?
key.
Because I feel like now I've got this kind of grit. Do you know what I mean? And this, you know, ability to work at a certain pace. But now I feel like it's going to be even easier to monetize somewhere like this, where, you know, you're kind of okay to feel a little bit of hardship, but you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The opportunity is available here. And one thing I've always said is that if you were raised in any major city in the UK, you're actually playing life on level hard.
Absolutely.
But you are. But there's a benefit about
It's
that.
a
Because if you
privilege,
go
I was
somewhere
gonna
else,
say.
now you know how to maneuver.
Exactly.
Because, bro, I'm going to keep it real, bro. Going through it every day, bro. We go through it, bro. Give and take, battle, blow for blow, like every single day. Like I remember I always make these jokes. Like I always used to say that, like I lived in London. Living in London is like running on a treadmill on the highest level, constantly. Can't look down at your
With a
shoelace.
backpack full of bricks.
Backpack full of bricks. Can't look at your shoelace. You're full. You got to say you have to be on it. I remember it used to be so simple. Like I used to watch TV, like, and in America, you watch these people like, lost the job for 2-3 months and they just carry on. It's like in the UK, you lose your job or your stream of income for 2-3 months. You're back to where you started.
Exactly.
3 years, 4 years, 5 years,
Taking
gone.
years
Lose
back.
back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Start again.
Exactly.
Everything will just unravel
Literally.
immediately. Like,
Literally. And I feel like that's exactly what I've done. Like as I said, a few years ago, it was a bit of a like, and it was like, okay, I'm just gonna work hard.
Yeah.
And I'm doing way better now than I was 3 years ago. Like how is that possible? But, you know, again, you know, I do understand that I have a certain character, I have certain attributes, and also as well, I'm intentional about what I'm doing. I set goals and I work hard and make sure that I achieve them. And I love that my daughters get to see it all happen. Like that they saw me at the bottom and now I'm here. Wicked.
That's amazing. That's amazing. At the end of every podcast, as you know, because you're an avid watcher, we always ask, what is the W and the L of your journey?
Oh my
Cream of the
gosh.
crust. But I've got a bonus question for you. because you're in showbiz.
Okay.
So I want to also know, after you did W and the L, what's the most interesting, exciting, or crazy thing that you have seen in showbiz that people would be surprised to hear?
I haven't been to a Diddy party, so yeah. It won't be anything like that. Anyway, okay, so the W, okay, so the L of my career or my life?
Journey,
or my
life.
journey.
Yeah.
Okay, I think my L, genuinely, and again, I've only realized this in the past couple of years, is that I centered my life around the men that were in it or weren't in it. So whether that was my father, whether that was partners, I was so desperate for the love of these men that I sacrificed myself and lost a lot, whether it was money, whether it was confidence, whether it was self-esteem. And I feel like that was an L. And the reason why I feel like it's an L, because I've now decentered men and my life is just totally different. It's totally different. And it doesn't mean that I love you guys any less.
Please explain.
But
Some of us are getting nervous.
So for me, decentering men is just that, like, I am not doing anything for, the attention of, the care of, like, so I've chosen myself. So the things that I choose to do, dressing nice. It's not because I want to impress a man. I'm not. I don't judge myself on whether or not I have a partner. I feel just as wonderful, as great, as beautiful, whether or not I have a partner. I'm not out here compromising myself or anything for the love of my dad or a man. And I know that sounds really extreme, but like it genuinely for me, I feel like that is what has helped me to really change my life genuinely to the core. There's so many other, W's and L's, but like, I feel like those have really significantly impacted my life for sure.
Yeah.
Now, the craziest thing that I've seen, gosh, I think of one thing. Okay, so this is just a description of the type of industry. I was at the Brit Awards when I was 18. I was either 18 or 19, and I was an unknown artist at the time. And there was a bowl in the middle of the table. And everyone, a place card, those little triangle things, everyone around the table was flipping the place card upside down and scooping whatever was in this bowl and putting it in front of them. And it was drugs. Now,
wait. What table was this on? The table where you sit on?
This was so 19, I would have been, what was that, 90, was that 90? I'm terrible at maths, 99, 98, I don't know, something like that. So these are the times where people were doing a madness. So it wasn't even, this was the Brit Awards.
The main, in the room.
I'm not mentioning anyone I was on the table with,
of course,
but
the main awards.
Of course. And the camera would have been on the people around the table, not me, but the other people around the table. And there's executives and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, and the thing is, I've never, well, I'm going to say, I've seen weed because I'm Jamaican, but like anything else, I've never encountered it. So this was my first encounter. And that was when I made the decision, I'm never going to move to London, because I thought that was just what London was like. And I never did. I always would just come to London, stay in a hotel, because I just thought you lot.
This is showbiz.
I just thought Londoners. I just thought all of you were like, I was like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that's not a bit of me. So yeah, but that's the. Sorry, is that too crazy?
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful. That's a great 60 seconds clip. That one is
no!
That's gonna be it.
We got what we needed.
Oh my God.
No, I've really, really enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone knows where they can find you, but just tell them anyway, man. Because you're recording some new music. Tell them when it's likely to drop.
So I've got new music coming in the fourth quarter of this year. I'm so excited, actually. So excited. So what do you mean where to find me?
So what's
Instagram?
Is Spotify? How did they?
I think on everything I'm official Jamelia. So
official
and I just joined Snapchat as well, because my kids were like, you have to be on there.
Yeah.
So I think on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify is official Jamelia, and Snapchat. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
my
you so
gosh.
much.
Thanks for
I voice
having
message
me.
her. I said, Jamelia, it's my birthday. Please. Please. This has been the best birthday present ever in life.
Oh, bless
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, that's been the Bread and Butter podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I know you guys enjoyed this episode, so make sure you drop a comment and share it with somebody. And we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.